Are we live?
We're live. Yeah. What's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, the All Eight Suck podcast. And my name is Dominic Felix.
This is Sam.
Luis Rodriguez.
And guys, every Thursday at 1 p.m., we come to you live with a lot of really great information on marketing, lead generation, a lot of it pertaining to real estate, plus other business ventures as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And today we have, when you talk about special guests, today we have an extra special guest who's an expert in their field. Ray, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Appreciate it, brother.
Guys, we have Ray Nunez. And Ray, can you go ahead and give them a little bit of an intro about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So I am Ray Nunez. I am the senior account executive for PadSplit. I started the Florida market back 3 years ago. I grew Tampa, Jacksonville, Orlando, and Miami to where they're at today. And I also happen to own 47 doors on the platform. And my real estate experience goes back 9 years, wholesaling and a few other things.
Damn, you were wholesaling?
Yeah, brother, that's how you get in.
You know what? Every time that we talk, I get reminded that you wholesale, but then when I see you the next time, I never remember that you wholesale. Would you still wholesale nowadays, or?
The only time I want to wholesale is when I have to go buy a property and it's like, oh crap, I have to go pay somebody, or now I'm at the mercy of whoever's finding properties today. But then when I see the work you guys do and the effort to actually get leads and then source leads and narrow it down, probably not.
It brings you back to those tough memories from when you did it.
Yeah, I hate paying for mailers. I hate paying for leads, recurring fees. I think so.
I gotcha. So what you got going on nowadays?
Nowadays, so kind of some self-branding. I run a podcast as well. The
Okay.
Co-Living with PadSplit podcast that I co-host with my wife. We also still have the portfolio of 47 doors. We're raising capital to go buy more PadSplits. And I am focusing on jumping back into the markets that we opened. So
Yes.
heading back to Jacksonville, heading back to Tampa, and growing out Orlando.
Okay, and you're a direct representative inside of PadSplit as well, right?
Yes, I am.
So how can you help people that are interested in PadSplit? Maybe they don't even know much about it, but they're a little bit intrigued.
For sure. Obviously, I hate not to plug myself in, but watch the podcast because it's free information to people that are watching. Basically, case studies on investors and what they've gone through to expand their portfolio to be successful. Reach out to us directly, whether DM or send us an email, ray@padsplit.com or orion@padsplit.com. And what we'll do is we'll schedule a private consultation meeting where it'll be 30 minutes. And we'll go through whether it's low level or high level PadSplit. We can do everything from what is PadSplit to how to acquire properties and go through that process.
So the podcast is the Co-Living with PadSplit podcast.
Yes, it is.
And it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple.
But you guys aren't going live yet, right?
We're live. It's every Tuesday at 8 o'clock.
Well, you record live? I mean, you broadcast live?
It's pre-recorded. It's pre-recorded. So
Okay.
every
Why are you
Tuesday.
exposing him like that?
No, it's fine. No, I'm fine with it. It's good. We're consistently going to be there on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. We're not going to miss it.
Okay.
Always guarantee that we're preloaded at least till.
Well, we have to do a live feature podcast.
Let's do it,
so everyone
brother.
can be super excited. Not that they're not excited. I'm sure it's fantastic.
You can stream it live, but it's not live.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You'll have to
You
ask
record it
Ian.
and then stream it.
So what you're saying is you can pre-record it,
and then stream it
And then
live.
play it at a different time,
Premiere.
Yeah.
and then how do you
'Cause-
answer like, oh, I guess we don't really engage with the audience
If-
much anyway.
If you have ever seen Two Bears, they did a live podcast where they actually did it at a comedy shop so that they actually had an audience while they did their podcast. That's a live podcast.
I love that concept.
Yeah.
I love that
Did it
concept.
once.
Didn't Yellowbird do one of those?
On a
Oh,
podcast?
Wasn't it a live podcast with somebody? I think it was G, maybe?
So a
something?
podcast. Oh, so I
Yeah.
mean,
I've seen that
we've
from Ray.
been, and G's been on other podcasts that have that kind of platform.
Yeah.
Where they have rows
An
of
audience, yeah.
guests and stuff like that.
But-
But it's an effort to fill those rows up too.
Yeah.
Like you just constantly have to post, invite people, get people. You almost got to over invite to meet like the amount of seats that you
Threshold,
have
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Didn't G have one with the Rio though? One with one guest. I think it was like Greg or something.
As a
like that.
podcast,
I think
I thought I saw something like
it's
that. Yeah.
possible.
I
I
feel like
mean,
I was there.
At the end of the day, it's difficult to do a podcast. Like obviously all due to you guys because
Yeah.
we get to see what it is to do a podcast. And we have to pre-record because we're walking properties. I drive 2 hours to get to Jacksonville. I live in Orlando. I just walk a house, and then I walk another house, and then I guide another investor. The amount of PadSplit properties that we're adding on a monthly basis, like the last week of the last month, it was the end of the quarter, it was 109 doors that were added.
Yeah.
And that's me alone.
Had none
Right.
of those.
Yeah.
We were guessing today how many doors you're managing or helping people manage.
Wait. Let's guess.
Guess.
Let's guess.
I
do
guessed,
quarter a
I
month.
guessed 100.
Oh,
All
there's
right.
no.
So your guess, Ray, don't.
He just did 109 last quarter.
Yes.
Last
So
week of the last quarter.
Wait.
the last week.
Are you consider the advocate no matter how long they're on the platform for?
Yeah.
Like, is that kind of under your umbrella
At the moment,
of
yeah.
clients?
At the moment, yeah. It's going to
Okay,
change,
gotcha.
but
Okay. So your guess
I'm gonna say
of
2,200.
all his total,
It was 100.
your guess, it was 100. What's
Way
your
too low.
guess?
I'm gonna say 2,200.
2,200? I'm going to
Wait, hold on.
guess.
What
Are
time
we
frame?
guessing units
In the-
or
in
just hosts?
total.
We're
ever?
just
Total.
guessing hosts.
Well, don't you still have to manage them?
No, it's not.
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
total units. It's just hosts. How many hosts? How many
Oh.
individual hosts?
Or rooms.
I was
no,
thinking
not
rooms.
rooms. Hosts.
Okay.
So
Mm.
let me further clarify. So what you're saying is how many hosts got into PadSplit through Ray
Correct.
and are still there from the beginning of time?
Yes.
Or have ever gone through Ray?
Oh,
I
then
said 100.
I'll say
Okay.
250 then.
Okay, 450.
It's closer to Dom.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's so I have hosts, and the host thing isn't that important because I have a host that has 330 doors.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Well, 330 doors out of 1,100 doors in Tampa is,
Yeah, it's 30% almost.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
30% of the market.
Got him from one door, skeptically, to 330 doors.
Actually,
on
I
the
met
platform.
him.
Is that the gentleman at
Yes.
Collab that
Yeah.
spoke at
Yeah,
Collab?
yeah.
Oh yeah. That
He
dude's
keeps adding.
he's a beast,
Yeah.
man. He's a
He actually
baller.
had like 180 when we did that at Collab.
330.
Wow.
He's already made over
That
$1
was in
million
a
in the first
year.
4 or 5 months.
I remember you showing me his thing actually, and
Don't
he
say
was
that out loud.
making.
No,
That was
I can-
crazy. It was $1 million a month he was bringing in.
he's making crazy numbers.
That's
and
crazy.
so, like Jeff, for example, that's one person, that's 100 doors.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, if you factor in that I open Jacksonville, I still maintain and help people in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And
Then
you invest in Jacksonville.
I do.
Yeah.
And so, because of that, then I'm also a large percentage of this market.
Right.
So, last quarter, or actually last month, I led at somewhere around 150
Wow.
doors
Wow.
added for
That's
the month.
So if we're talking about 450 people, the amount of doors is that times like 7 or 6?
Something like that. Depends on how many properties they have. But
I
per
need to know the
property,
number.
Well, it's hard.
six doors per house average.
3,000?
And then how many times do they buy?
Right.
Almost 3,000.
Yeah. So would it be like 3,000 doors then closer that you have?
So he could have
Gone in.
opened his own PadSplit.
I would take credit for maybe 40% of Jack's alone,
Wow.
not including the fund,
Yeah.
which is the largest investor out here.
Yeah. that guy's
And
got
then
a
in
ton.
Tampa, I'm a quarter alone in one person, 30%.
Wow.
And then in Orlando,
Yeah.
majority of that.
Wow.
And
That's
Oriana's a
crazy.
beast too, because last year, second highest performer, then Oriana's the third highest performer. So if in one
Wow.
household, you're adding tons of people.
That's
Wow.
gangster.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's like, okay, well, the experience that we have and how we
Right.
guide and how we educate, it's obviously very important when you're
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
to be guided. Because I mean, when you guys are wholesaling deals,
Yeah.
you can tell the difference between a person that's going to blow up a deal.
Yeah.
Who's me?
Yeah, you're not blowing up a deal, but someone might be. But
Yeah.
or someone who knows how to keep it together.
You're right.
Well, let me ask you this because obviously networking is probably a huge part of what you do, right?
Yep.
And then everyone's interested in PadSplit, whether they admit it or not. People are really excited about PadSplit. It's such a cool concept, right? So you probably have tons of people coming up to you at events, meetups, you're getting calls, you're getting emails, you're getting whatever. So first question I just want to ask is like, what do you consider a lead from that perspective? Like if you're trying to help someone get on the PadSplit platform, at what point do you be like, okay, this is a lead?
At this point, it's anyone interested because you're educating them. So it's brand awareness.
Okay.
When I first started, our job was taking calls and kind of like call center type of thing. I got bored of doing that, so I started going to events. Jack's Rio was an example of one of those. And so sometimes you have to do brand awareness. You do have to let people know you exist.
Yep.
So one of the fastest ways was credibility of what you do. So I started buying properties. And then so instead of me telling you, hey, PadSplit, I'm an expert. Here's the information on the concept. Some investors might need more hand holding. And so I think that's kind of where I can get into deep water because I can tell you how to birth through a property. I can tell you or connect you with someone that does creative financing. And so I think the first step is brand awareness and what it does and showing you my portfolio and showing you some of the results.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, they'll speak to other people. You convince other investors that are influencers in that market to buy into PadSplit. And at that point, then it's kind of like a wildfire.
Before you bought your PadSplits, did you own other rentals?
I have. So I was primarily mostly just wholesaling up until like 2019.
What market?
Orlando.
Orlando.
Yeah. So 2019, I was working for a large wholesale operation in Orlando. We did a couple rentals. We did a couple flips, mostly long-term and flips. 2020, I made my own wholesale operation.
In Orlando.
In Orlando still, but we were selling to hedge funds. And then
Hey.
and then we were throwing it on the MLS. And then from there, that partnership kind of dissolved in 2021.
You had some other partner that was with you?
Yeah, my wife and I and two other people.
Got it.
But one thing you learn throughout the process is you don't want too many visionaries.
Yeah.
You can't be 4 visionaries.
Three's
So
the
Could be
limit.
3, but no.
you want to get people that are. I think I heard you say something like that, like the partnerships that you have. Some old video or something, or you might have said it around me. But the partners you have, ultimately, you want to make sure that you have someone that is an implementer and someone that's a visionary, and those are things that are very important when partnering with people. So. Everyone wanted to do sales and everyone wanted to do acquisitions and everybody wanted to get paid more.
Right.
So that fell apart. And then PadSplit 2021.
What was the other side of the business? Dispo? Nobody wanted to do Dispo?
Well, everybody wanted to, as partners, make more money on a deal.
Right.
Although
Why?
we were on the same mission.
Right.
I don't know.
Because they like
Different
money.
needs.
Everybody likes money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so back to all right, anyone who's interested, you talk to,
Anyone's
you're going to
interested.
educate them about the platform and how it works. What I wanted to get to with that was like, there's like prospect to lead, and ultimately it's a client. No one really makes any money until they get on the platform, whether it's you or them, right? So like, how many do you have to go through until someone really conveys as, a win?
So they go through a sales funnel. Like that again, we're sales agents.
Okay.
Everyone has the same kind of book of information on PadSplit. So we do video calls throughout the day. In those video calls, we talk about the basics of PadSplit, markets, blah, blah, blah. And so we're kind of just scheduled out in advance. Hey, this day, Monday, you got 6 video calls.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 video calls. And so we're bombarded with just leads.
Sure, there are days where you might not be able to take someone's video call for weeks.
Yeah, people have looked at my schedule and gone, "Hey Ray, I can't talk to you for a week and a half. Is that real? Here's my number. Shoot me a text, and let's get a phone call in between meetings."
Yeah.
So, yeah, we go through a lot, and people in different stages. So, and we do categorize them in different stages: open, not contacted, contacted, scheduled meetings, converted to an opportunity. Then, even within opportunities, you are just regular LOI, you're interested, but you don't have a property selected, you found something, and in that process, we're pushing you along to get you something.
Right.
So if you don't have a property, we're connecting with a wholesaler.
So it sounds like what might really help you guys is a little AI,
It sounds like it.
right?
I flirted and told you about it at one point, and you said, we're doing this for lead generation. But my concept was, you should definitely sell me on AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were talking about something else, and I said, yeah, we'll potentially get to that at some point.
I'll connect you to PadSplit so you can go ahead.
We've got to chat. AI is
It's a manual job
just
that we
making
do.
strides.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, you have to automate more.
It's a lot of education. It's funny because we just did an event on Sunday at our PadSplit, and we had like 30 people there. And it was interesting that even though people have already heard about it, they've seen it at other events, they've talked to E about it, they're there at our place going, I just don't understand how this works. I don't understand how I'm going to make money. I don't understand how this is legal. Like they're just going through it and they're like trying to talk themselves out of it. And we're showing them a
Right.
5,000 square foot house that we just added rooms to, and we made a 9-bedroom house. And it's like, I don't know what you're not understanding. We don't get anything for this. We don't work for PadSplit, which is funny that they actually thought we did work for PadSplit. We're like, we're just showing you what we did so that you have the information.
Well, the
and
funny
it's
thing
third party.
The funny thing about PadSplit is such a great company and great platform that you're working for them. You don't even know you're working
Right.
for them.
That's what I mean.
Well, there's ways to
It's
monetize
hilarious.
it, and we'll definitely
Yeah.
talk about it. And I think it's underutilized on your parts
For
because
sure.
that a little
For
bit.
sure.
How dare you?
It's underutilized on your
Yeah.
part, and
Yeah.
and ultimately, there's influencers that are in the game that are, if you notice through social media, that are now advertising PadSplit.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Saying there's a reason.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, credibility does add to what it is that people want to listen to. If
Right.
you are a person that doesn't have any properties, what makes you the professional of whatever subject matter? So to see your property, walk your property, you are a better testament to the product than just me talking fluff,
Right.
ultimately.
Right. And that's what was so interesting. We're like, we don't work for them. We don't get anything for this. We're showing you to educate you so you can go out there and do it, and maybe we'll sell you a property, you know? And then this is what you can do with it afterwards. But it's just so interesting how like pushed back people can be on it in that process, that you can still make way more money than long-term rentals, and they're still like, I don't know. It's like, what
So-
don't you know? Jump in, baby.
So, Lewis, really quick, just because a lot of people might not know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about like the huge PadSplit property visit you did the other day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you
So
just tell the audience exactly what you initially did? Because you guys didn't advertise that for very long, and there were a ton of people that went there.
no, so we were one of those 909 property or 109 rooms that Ray had gotten up last quarter. He messaged us.
We were the 9.
Yeah, we were the 9.
You were right.
Can you PadSplit with one bedroom?
No.
You can.
Oh,
No,
I thought
there,
it
there.
was 2 or
Okay, so
something.
I don't necessarily recommend a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom minimum,
Yeah.
but you would still be turned down by most people on a 2 bedroom.
Right. But Ray had messaged us, can you throw this up on PadSplit, really quick? We got to get this thing going. We're like, yeah, we can get it going. We're just waiting for a couple end tables to kind of finalize everything. We threw it up. Before we even had a chance to really like finalize everything, we already had 2 people renting it. So we're like, damn, that went a lot faster than we expected, which was good. But then we're like, okay, what do? We're sitting there before this person moves in 4 days, and he's like, we should do an event at the PadSplit. And I'm like, it's 4th of July. I don't know if that's enough time. We can do it. We can try. Let's see. He puts out a post, 109 people comment on it. I'm interested.
So, what made you want to do an event?
I don't know really.
Why
The
did that
very
come to your
first-
mind?
The very first
He's
one
a
that I
savant.
did at the first property, it just went
Yeah.
really well. It was good networking, a lot of people that came in,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lot of new relationships cultivated out of the first one. So I had people that were in my network that started hitting me up. Hey, I'm working with a private money lender to find my own PadSplit. He just didn't believe that it's a good concept or we could do it. So thank you so much for doing that event. Can I come walk it again with him next day? And then I had other people that hit me up that were like trying to sell me deals that I would buy from them as a PadSplit and turn into a PadSplit. So there was no real intent of like capturing anything out of it. It was just let's show the community what we've done.
Yeah.
To kind of, I also wanted to brag a little bit because everybody's doing a shitty job with renos, and I think I'm doing a good job with renos.
Mm-hmm.
So we did the event, and everybody came in and saw it, and it was really, I mean, it's a pretty high standard living compared to a lot of other stuff that's on the market. So I just wanted to show it so that the bar gets raised a little bit.
Right.
And then the second one was basically the same idea. And the thought process is once we fill this place up, I can't do tours. I can't show
Yeah,
it to
we can't get
anybody
back in.
anymore.
Why not?
Well, because
s-
you can't walk into people's bedrooms.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, you can, but
Yeah. It's
because
9
you're an
units.
ethical liar.
ethical.
Yeah,
Ethical.
keyword.
Ethical non-truth teller.
Yeah.
Let's say it in the right
There
manner.
you go.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, so you guys put it up. Why do you think you rented the 2 rooms so fast? That was
lot
like
of
in a day.
amenities,
Yeah, so
and
I
it's a
put
big
it
house.
out with basically no pictures. We just put staged pictures, and then we put the amenities of the bedrooms. So the 2 bedrooms that rented,
Mm.
one had a jacuzzi tub, a 70-inch TV, a king-side bed,
What's the
private
price point
entrance,
for that one? Did he follow what I
and
told you?
No, we should
yes.
have.
Well, we'll squash the beef right now. So
I
How
got
big?
beef.
It sounds like
it
a
was really
huge old.
large. It was like 1-bedroom
Dude,
apartment, pretty much.
It's bigger than our duplex 1-bedroom unit. The whole bedroom
Yeah, we
is
put it out for
larger than the whole unit.
232.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
I
think you said 275. That
Did you
thing
say
went.
275 or did you say 235?
would have never said 230.
Yeah, that thing went in 24 hours. Boom.
I have
gone.
rooms in worse areas more north of where your property's at that's rented at 240 and is smaller.
Yeah.
The property that I have that's off of that's near Edward Waters College, that the private ensuite in there is rented at 275.
Yeah.
Mm.
I would have already told you you should have done higher. And then my best property out here is 325, like 6 minutes from here
Yeah.
in San Jose for a private ensuite, and it's still smaller than yours by a lot.
Our second unit.
I don't know why in my head it was 235.
I'm sure he listened to
Our second unit
You
is
renegotiated yourself.
actually really nice. It's got a kitchenette, it's their own bathroom. They got a sofa for the TV. So it's like another suite again, studio apartment. And I think we got that one at 2. And I think that's the one you said at 235 because it doesn't have private entrance.
No, yeah, that one's at 235 as well.
Oh, it is? Okay. So that one's good.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And you guys are getting a lot more interest, or is it gradual interest?
We haven't even put pictures up yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
So the pictures were taken
Photos
yesterday,
up.
so we'll be loading pictures today.
Nice.
probably.
Yeah.
Now you guys have
Hopefully.
an incredible house in a very unique area, right?
Yeah.
And it's a mansion.
And it's
Right? Is it like
interesting financing too. It's a little over 5,000 square feet, but this kid negotiated a 10% down payment and no interest payments for 10 years.
Is that legal?
crazy.
Yeah, it's legal. We could have traded anything, really.
It's legal as long as you're ethically telling not truth.
And not documented.
Yeah.
I love it, man. So that's another one through your umbrella, right?
Yeah.
Man, fucking Ray's killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got another one
What's your
in a
opinion on
month.
that house?
I walked it. I didn't. I got invited the day before. Like, hey Ray, you want to show up? We, by the way, invited you and the other sales representative to show up to the same event.
Oh,
You
yeah.
want to come 2 hours? And I'm like, no, I can't.
Thanks for the heads up. Yeah.
I'm not gonna make it. Like,
Yeah, he's got
there's other
3,000 doors under his
stuff.
belt.
No, I would have come 100%. But 2 hours
On a Sunday?
No, I get
On the
it.
4th of July weekend?
with another person there,
Yeah.
it's like
What am I doing here?
you show up to a wholesale meeting with 2 different wholesalers at the
Yeah.
same place. You're just like.
What am I doing?
But with that being said, we walked the property and he goes, what do you think prior? He goes, what do you think for this room? What do you think for this room? What do you think for this room? Give him brackets. Hey, I think this lower number. I think this higher number. Depends on what you put into it. So we come out, we, recorded some stuff together and we spent an hour and a half or something like it. It was hot as hell. So we did that. And then the day before he invites me to go walk his house after it's furnished or whatever, mostly furnished, to go walk properties. I'm like, I can't make it, bro. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to cancel the plans to show up to that because at this situation.
Right. And how many bedrooms is it?
It's 9
Nine.
with 6.
9. It's a huge property. So you
beautiful.
probably have enough parking for all 9 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's a super convenient pad split for your
Yeah.
guests.
It's gated.
Rooms are huge.
It's
That's
gated.
nice little extra.
So
Main road.
we had the 2 people that moved in.
Oh
This is
man.
funny. So room number 1 and room number 9 moved
Yep.
in, and they got booked. And supposedly these 2 people moved out of their previous pad split because they couldn't get along together,
Yeah.
and they moved them into
And now they
into
both
our
moved.
For real?
place.
Yeah.
I mean, the house is big enough that I don't think they're going to interact.
I
much.
know, but they already did, and room
Yeah.
number 9 is already moving out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Wait, room number 9 is one of the bigger suites on the top?
Yes.
Yeah.
Increase the rate.
So now we're gonna
That's-
increase the
yeah.
rate.
Yeah.
So basically,
Lesson.
5,000.
That's why I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah. So 5,000 square feet. 9 bedrooms. I
Yeah.
know people that have a lot lower square footage with more bedrooms.
Yeah.
Were you guys not pushed to do more bedrooms?
Oh no, we thought about that for months. I wanted to
The
turn
garage?
we have a 3-car garage. I wanted to turn those into rooms. And then we have
And then you didn't want to pay for it.
we have like an 1,800 square foot screened in porch. He's correct. I didn't want to pay for it. But I felt like I think we originally wanted to turn it into a prison house,
Nice.
which was a really sweet setup. You basically get paid like $600 or $700 per bed, and you get paid up front through the city. And
How many beds in the rooms?
bro, you can make bunk beds in those rooms and stack them up. They do not care. You as long as you can put a bed against the
It's
wall,
better
they
than a
don't care.
prison.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
So we went to a house that had like 8 guys living in it, and it was maybe 500, 700 square feet. It was tiny. But that's what our original plan was. We're like, we'll fit 45 people in here. This place will be crazy. And then they're like, we're no longer accepting houses.
I
So
guess they ran out of inmates.
yeah, we need more crime in the city. Yeah, I think 9 is the easiest way to keep it the way that it is without having to obviously destroy the garage and kind of remove that functionality.
5,000 square feet. You can't cut some of those rooms in half?
Yeah, you just, if you haven't walked it, you don't know what it entails. So if you walk it, it'll make sense why you can't.
Yeah, the bedrooms are larger, so you can't really slice those up to meet the requirements for PadSplit, so it would just be funky.
Right.
But we chopped up the dining room, that one room that like your grandmother used to put plastic on the couch. I don't know what that room is, but
Family room?
I guess we
Living
chopped up
room?
that room, and then the living room we chopped up too. So we made it functional the best way you could. The only other thing that I thought we could have done is maybe in those 2 upstairs suites, made a smaller room where the couches are, but then you kind of
The back porch, I remember there was the potential also. But
yeah.
we were again, we walked the property, Oriana and myself, and Oriana's more conservative. I tend to, depend on situation, make suggestions to make more rooms. Uh, Law of averages. You want to have more potential than less potential, and then factor in occupancy. So I wanted to add more rooms, but then I also felt like you probably shouldn't. And
Yeah.
Oriana definitely said stay with what you have.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our suggestion based off that area. And it's unique because those rooms are too massive. The finishes are too nice
Yeah.
for that zip code. There's nothing else like it.
I'll be honest, I'm almost 90% sure that in 10 years from now, Sam's going to try and move in there himself and pull the walls down because he loves that place.
It's a fantastic house and
It
a
is.
fantastic deal.
Yeah, it is a good deal.
I'll just have to have 8 kids.
Yeah. So based on that area, in your opinion, Ray, so the rooms are a little bit bigger, a little bit more
Is
luxurious.
that the nicest PadSplit in Jacksonville? Say the truth.
Yes, I would now have the second.
Really?
The San Jose house, yeah.
It's even nicer than yours.
It's nicer than mine, yeah.
Yeah.
Because mine is more like a colonial house. So it's a different style. Yours is just obnoxiously big. It was like a 2000 house that was just.
It's got like 14-foot ceilings. It doesn't even make sense sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our electric bill's going to be through the
We
roof.
should have added one more floor.
You could
Just add one
Probably.
more floor.
like above where the room is. Like one of your rooms, a few times, a couple of your rooms are bigger than like maybe 2 of my rooms in that same zip code around the corner.
Wow.
But you can't account for in PadSplit how high the room is.
Yeah.
What we're counting is the shortest wall. So if it's under 8 foot, it's one price. If it's above 11 foot, then it's another price. But just because your ceilings is 2 times this room doesn't mean that you could charge more.
Yeah.
A perception, though, and perceived value. Hey, this is a large room. These
Big,
are these
luxurious.
features.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't get this anywhere else.
So do you think the way they have their house and the type of house that it is, they'll have a good advantage on keeping it occupied at a higher rate because of the ones in its surrounding?
Yeah, because what a lot of people do when you're taught incorrectly, it's maximize your house and then you'll get the 10 bedrooms. And when you do the basic 8 by 10 for 9-year rooms, well, guess what the most common room is in any house? 8 by 10. And if it's 8 by 10, do you have a closet? Probably not. You have a dresser.
Yeah.
So then if you're just teaching the masses 8 by 10 and everyone's doing 8 by 10, then what you have is then your rates are going to plummet. And then there's many of those rooms. What there's less of is the private ensuite. So if one house has one private ensuite and there's 10 houses, then there's only 10 of those rooms, while the other 9 of them are in each house, and each of them are 10 bedrooms, are just all common bedroom sizes.
Yeah.
So because yours is uniquely taller and bigger, you should be able to charge more, and their alternative is a lot less. So you should keep them longer
Yeah.
based off of that, in my opinion.
That's awesome. And the private ensuite is because it has its own private entrance.
Private bathroom.
Bathroom.
But ours has kitchenettes too for 2 rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's by default the plumbing. Each house, the possibility of adding a bathroom in any of those rooms is less. And so in any market, that's the most rarest room would be the private bathroom inside of a room.
Gotcha.
So those get snatched up faster. So that's why
Those
they start
too.
higher,
Yeah.
so that they can snatch that first, and then the other ones would trickle down.
Right.
Yeah.
You can price reduce the other rooms, but you just got the premium for the most expensive room.
That's a big compliment, man.
Yeah.
The guy that has the most amount of PadSplit told me that I have the nicest PadSplit in town.
Second most privately.
Right. But you're the client, so I would tell you that too.
Oh, yeah?
Ethically.
Well, you're an ethical liar, so
Yeah,
it doesn't
ethically.
count.
I'm
Yes.
ethical.
Yeah. So one thing about the way that you guys funnel your leads into your system, I kind of never really thought of it like that. I didn't think that you guys had it organized like a sales pipeline where it becomes an opportunity at some point, and then I don't know if it's like divided between warm and hotter and whatever. Maybe you're going to show more attention to the ones that are most promising for conversion. Is it like that? Is it like the typical sales world? And I don't mean typical like ordinary. I mean like you guys, it's important to run your numbers, and if you can, then you'll probably experience more success.
Yeah, no, it's sales. It's a funnel. You have leads. It's sales. You get paid partially due to how much get activated sales.
Right.
Experience is different per person, not just on our side as sales agents, but also on the investor themselves. So we can only put as much effort that the investor does. If an investor is stuck in a stage and they're not reaching out to wholesalers, agents, looking at properties, I can't force you through the process. If you're going through rehab and you're not updating me on the rehab, I can't force you through the rehab. I can even connect you with a resource to help you in that position. So sometimes it's like wrangling cats.
But there are PadSplits that are fully finished that they can just go buy, no?
It is, but then who wants to pay a premium? So that's where it comes to inventory. So and they'll look at the MLS and they'll look at the PadSplit market. I was selling one of my properties, but I refinanced on it. But I was selling it at
You didn't
300.
sell it?
No, but I wanted to keep it though.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I wanted to keep it. It was just financial reasons and hard money. But financial reasons change as you make money.
Right.
Right.
So I don't need to. But I was selling it at 300. My logic is I could buy something off the MLS in the same area at 250, but I'm still going to have to put the rehab. I'm still going to buy the furniture. I'm still going to have to do all of that. And instead of you going through that process, how about you buy a turnkey PadSplit?
Right.
But you're paying more upfront, and your property's live.
You can finance it though, right?
But it's more upfront. It's a $300,000 purchase. But for you guys acquiring properties, you guys would probably laugh at that. 300,000, 20% of what? Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
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 So it depends on the investor, their experience, their situation, their funds, and then also their willingness to go through the process, and then our communication.
So let me ask you this, because when you buy a PadSplit, it's kind of like buying multifamily. Would the investor just value it based off a cap rate that it could produce?
That's what they want to,
Right.
especially when they're selling it.
Yeah.
But the reality is it still needs to appraise.
Right.
And so the basis of it still needs to be that it's a single family or multifamily home. How many closets are there in rooms, and what are rooms and what's a bedroom? And if they're able to run a comp based off of that. And then that's also still advice that you give to people, because basic PadSplit advice is a bedroom is 8 by 10 minimum. And if you have a closet, you don't need a dresser. And if you have a dresser, you don't need a closet. Well, then the first thought is, I'm going to go put closets in every room. And if that's what you're loosely being told, And then at that point, now you have 8 bedrooms, 8 closets, and then you try to get a refinance. Well, now you
Nobody's
have
gonna do
8 bedrooms,
Yeah.
and you weren't
Right.
told correctly. So then
Right.
at that point, you can't refinance.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, how often does it happen that somebody would buy a PadSplit that's fully finished and already is on the platform?
There's a lot selling off the marketplace. There is a larger investor that is liquidating to now buy in another asset class. I don't know what asset class. I don't know if he's doing like storage or something like that, but he is shifting and selling, and he's one of the largest holders in Jacksonville and Atlanta and Houston. But besides that, individual people like yourself wanting to sell your property, those properties aren't really selling
Yeah.
as much.
Yeah.
The people aren't really selling their properties.
I was curious because I see a lot of them.
It's the same seller.
Yeah. We talked to Jeff Weller about this because he's helping him on the loan side of
Good for
things.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he also mentioned that he has that loan product where
Mhm.
they can just buy it as a PadSplit,
Mhm.
and they just use basically they do an appraisal.
different
It's
type of
similar to a
underwriting.
DSCR program.
He's got the rates close to the
It's got
same.
the
Yeah.
rates close to the same. So I was just curious, like if it's a fully finished product and somebody doesn't have to go through the reno and save themselves 3 to 6 months of headache, does it make sense financially or not?
It could ultimately, but you can also buy a fix and flip property and just put walls up, and you know what's going into it.
Like a finished fix and flip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're probably going to buy very close to retail and not capture any equity. That's what we're
Right.
talking about, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So back to when you were talking about it's like wrangling cats. At what point do you feel like you have a good influence to help them convert themselves into something that they want to do? Because they want the pad splits, right? They want one. They want to get into the wholesale or the landlord game. So at what point is it just making the connections with like, construction crews or maybe realtors that can help them find a place? Like what are the, 'cause I'm sure you bridge a lot of those gaps, right?
Yeah. So I had the benefit of being the only person in Florida, just running around telling people pad split, and then you build those relationships with furniture companies, construction companies. I've used a lot of them in Jacksonville, so I get to recommend people that I've utilized, or if one of my investors that does volume uses that person, then I can recommend it.
Right.
So one of the things that I do is mostly build that ecosystem that's outside of PadSplit's own ecosystem,
Mhm.
because the PadSplit ecosystem is just general and broad for everyone to use.
Right.
I mean, do you want to go ahead and pay the most amount of money potentially with a contractor? Or do you want the person that's going to hook you up or help you out in the process? So sometimes, mine comes a little bit more in handy. But when it comes to like figuring out who's willing to work and who's not willing to work, it depends on the connection and the conversation you have. You know the person and like what their goals are. They're actively telling you, hey, I'm looking at a property. I've done the floor plan. I've used this app to figure it out. Here's the address. What do you think? Here's the floor plan. What do you think? Hey, come to Jacksonville. Let's walk a property. Fantastic. We're there. Um, we try to be there at the very least.
I would think that's like physically taxing, like going to visit all these properties.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, I'm sure it gives them invaluable value.
In the very beginning, at least for the first property, I give them that.
Yeah, you
Usually.
walked all of ours.
I do it. I do it.
Well,
in
because you
hopes that
guys are
guys-
movers and shakers, so he understands that.
Yeah.
It's to build a relationship ultimately, because you want to keep your little ecosystem of referring people out and building business with the people that you're working with.
Right.
So as everyone was referring, and I'll try not to make reference, there's multiple furniture companies out here.
Right.
Some referred one, I referred another one. But I built that relationship.
Can we name drop?
If you want to,
No,
I don't
no,
want to
no.
bash.
I'm kidding.
But it's not for any reasons at all. I mean, I've tried a few. I've
Right.
even built my own furniture.
Right.
So it's figuring out who's working with you and who's collaborating with you, so that you can continue to send those people to those vendors.
I think it's invaluable because we got a seller finance deal on a property, and you walked it with me a while ago, and we ended up selling that property because when we
Orange Park?
walked, it was like out on the outskirts though.
Yeah.
And when we walked it, you're like, dude, this is far. like it was in between two Starbucks, like we wanted. Like it had all the right things, but for PadSplit, it just didn't make the most sense. And that's where we really were like, the only way that this works is for us to do PadSplit with our cash into the deal. So we ended up selling it. So I think that was a huge benefit for us. So I can see how it'd be benefits for others. But the one thing that I was going to ask you is, do you see more conversion in teaching old dogs new tricks? Or do you see it in teaching these new
New
up and
dogs, new tricks.
comers about the industry, and maybe instead of going into Airbnb, which was so shiny for so long, going into something like this?
I saw the difference in that within the last 3 years. So at one point it was, hey, let's talk to investors that have portfolios.
Right.
And some of them won't pick up your phone call. They think that you're trying to buy their property, or you're trying to haggle them in some shape or form.
Right.
So PadSplit pivoted from that. And so you now will see more people that are in creative financing community,
Yeah.
and people that are new to invest in, which is a majority of them. And so those are the people that are actively out here throwing you properties and going, what do you think? What do you think? That's the little funny phrase, don't
Yeah.
repeat it,
Yeah.
that I told you earlier, where it does then become very intensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
can see that for sure.
because now you're dealing with someone that doesn't have that real estate background.
Yeah.
So there's benefits to portfolio investors. Hey, I have 60 Airbnbs and they're not doing well. Let's start with the ones that aren't working. I don't love that concept, because that concept ultimately means, hey, these are my crappy houses.
Right.
Fix it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Make
well,
it less
if
crappy.
it's a shitty house, then how do you expect to go ahead and rent it out? And
Right.
if it's in a bad area, then you're still going to then get bad members potentially.
Right.
Like, it doesn't really change much. But I at this point, I deal with the full spectrum, preferably. I like newbie investors. I want to teach financial literacy, so I'm fine. I started off wholesaling dropping signs 9 years ago, so I started from the bottom of the totem pole just to get in.
Right.
And
Wholesaling is the bottom.
Hell yeah.
dropping signs is the bottom.
Dropping signs.
Dropping 100 signs a night and then having just the whole office write signs, and that's what you're
Yeah.
doing for the whole team. That is starting from
And
the
then
bottom.
having
I love
somebody
that.
else come behind you and pick them up and throw them on the ground afterwards.
And I wasn't the one that was throwing your stuff into the garbage. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Mm.
also people you pay and then they'll just take your shit and throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
I was the guy that was actually learning, going, this one's gonna make money.
Yeah.
This one's gonna make money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy with the newbies as long as they're progressing forward and they're willing to help themselves. And then obviously with the investors that they'll fight you and tell you, hey, this ain't gonna work.
Right.
Sure, fine. I mean, take a look at mine. I'm no expert.
Yeah.
And all these other people that done it.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same questions always and the same skepticism.
So is that where the social media presence came into place with making the videos? So you
That
would
was
have
the
to do
pivot.
less?
Well, no, that pivot came from everyone's a professional, everyone's
Right.
an expert. So
Right.
how do you tell the difference?
Right.
So then I finally just said, well, you can't tell the difference between me. Like, a cop once told me, I can't tell you from a can of paint.
Yeah.
Who's the expert? And so, okay, well, I got 47 doors. I make $30,000 to $36,000 a month, and I onboard this many people.
Yeah.
Who do you want to work with?
Take it for what it's worth. Yeah.
Right.
And then I walk properties. I have a website. I have a podcast. I educate investors on this. I'm giving
Where do you
content.
find the time in your life, man?
I don't know.
I'm serious.
You schedule yourself. We have like a calendar of the year, and one slot per day. And then you
'Cause
put
with
what's the
so
most
many
important thing that day.
units,
Jesse
so many
Itzler?
hosts.
Huh?
Jesse Itzler?
I didn't.
The
I don't know
calendar
if
of the year?
I got it. No, I got it from that
Oh.
one British Indian guy that talks about productivity.
Okay.
And he said, do a calendar for the year and put the most important thing there.
Yeah.
So Saturday is 3 podcasts back to back.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing that day. Today was come to Jacksonville for this.
Wow.
Okay.
That's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I to me it was like a little mind-baffling when you told me. Like, I think that one time when we went to walk Ida Street, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna drive up there from Orlando just to walk the property." And I'm like, "This guy is managing so many units. He's gonna drive all the way up here just to meet me and walk the property." It's
My commitment to my clients and my buddies, and I take it seriously
yeah.
because
Because we would think you'd be so much less available, but you're always available. Like when I call you, you're available. When I text you, you're available.
I try.
When I say, hey, we need to walk this property, you come and walk it. I think you walked 3 properties with Lewis in one day.
Yeah.
So I'm just mind baffled how you find the time in the day.
Prioritize.
Yeah.
Yeah, you prioritize, and then you to answer your question, you figure out what's the most important usage of your time. And we're still in sales. Technically, this is still
Right.
sales. I don't live and die by it. Luckily, I use this as a job to network.
Right.
I use this as the ability for us to build this relationship while we're in this situation. And then outside of here, okay, well, then how can I bring value to you? How can I expand on what you guys are doing?
Right.
And that's all I've ever done since getting here. And I've noticed that the more I built these relationships, the more PadSplit was successful in Jacksonville, the more it was successful in Tampa. It wasn't every time I look at you and I see you and you had a bedroom, I go, cha-ching. I'm not reliant on that.
Right. Right. What made you, because I'm curious about this, because you were wholesaling in Orlando, but then most of your pad splits are in Jacksonville. What caused you to do that?
When you have a total amount and you go, how many houses can I buy? And it's changed since then because I kind of wish I bought in Orlando for a couple different reasons. But truly believe in Jacksonville. 5 of my houses, 30 of my doors are up here, 35 maybe. 35 doors are up here. But when you have a certain amount, you go, okay, where can I buy? And you backwards engineer it. And then you break down the cost of housing, how many rooms you could potentially get, what's your buy box. Then you go, okay, do I want the 4 houses in Orlando, 5 houses in Orlando, or do I want 7 to maybe 10 houses in Jacksonville? Oh no, I want 7 to 10 houses in Jacksonville. And if it wasn't for a couple bad refinances and the interest rates going up at that time and them lending less at that time because of some horrible hard money lenders out here,
Right.
then at that point, then I would have had more properties. But I got stuck at 7 because of bad situations that now
But
have
it
to
would
push
have
me forward.
happened in Orlando too, I guess, no?
I'm going to continue to buy in Orlando. My last 2 were in Orlando.
So how many do you have in Orlando?
12.
12.
12 doors,
Oh,
2
12
houses.
doors. Okay. So do you think that you're going to try to switch and buy more in Orlando and build a bigger portfolio there, or are you going to stay in Jacksonville and build here?
I would probably do both because you still can't buy under $150,000 in Orlando. And you do have to fill your portfolio up. And I thought that it'd be buying more rooms at first, like getting more rooms at first. I thought you should get 8 to 10 bedrooms per house. But I quickly realized from that guy from Tampa, he'll do a 2-1 to a 3-1 conversion because it just made him more money compared to what he was making. And as long as I can get out of the deal through a refinance or something like that, then I'm fine doing a 5-bedroom house.
Right.
I was able to still do the deal, do the transaction, add 5 bedrooms to the portfolio, get out of the deal, and continue to move forward.
Are you investing your own money, or do you have a private money lender?
My own money, but I am raising capital.
You're raising capital?
Yep.
Is that difficult?
I was told not so much. You just have to open your mouth and advertise it, and people come to you.
Yeah.
So you ask people for money and they give it.
They saw my podcast and they say, "Hey, you raising capital?"
Really?
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Raising capital.
And yes, I'm partnering with investors to buy properties, and I help guide them through the process, and we'll buy a property together. And
It's gangster.
So
Yeah,
if somebody
it.
came to you and said, "Hey, let me put all the money up, and then you do everything else," you would do that, and then
100%,
you guys figure out some kind of a percentage split.
100%.
You would do that?
Yeah.
Damn. That's
Cool.
amazing. I
That is
think
amazing.
raising capital is really the most valuable skill. And then if you can cash flow on steroids, then
Well, he has proven concept,
Yeah.
and he's a really strong advocate inside of PadSplit, and he
Right.
has a tremendous amount of experience. I think he's a safe bet as far as PadSplit is concerned, for sure. One thing that I'm still thinking about, and I'm sorry, I'm going to switch it back over
Switch
to
it,
the
man.
lead flow thing,
Let's go.
because we said, what does it take? And you said a lot, right? So, and then you might not be able to answer this, but like, as far as your first introduction to a potential client or a potential lead until someone that converts into a PadSplit product, do you have an idea what those numbers look like? And if you don't know exactly, can you just generalize it? Like, dude, I have to meet 250 people before one of them actually buys and goes onto the
that's a good
platform.
question.
I don't. So for me, it's
Because
weird.
I also have a follow-up because I want to figure out why people would feel like They all suck. All the leads suck.
Opinion is we need automation in what we do. We don't have it.
Hold on. So
We need automation. There's automation needed.
okay.
There's absolute automation needed. Currently, at this very moment, we don't have it. And we know what the track is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's up to each person to go through that process.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many leads turn to a conversion.
Okay.
I don't have that number because my leads come from everywhere.
Sure. Yep.
That's the thing. You throw a lot of nets, so you can get something from.
What does your
places.
gut tell you? How many people do you have to meet or talk to?
I would say somewhere around 10 to 15 people to try to get someone into. Like I mean, my ratio should be better than that, but 10 people I would say on average to get to do maybe 1 or 2 meetings on a video call, then maybe half of that falls off. So one person continues to move forward because a lot of people are just jumping in to get taught.
So when it gets to the video call, it gets real for them. Like that's a real good lead. Those numbers are great.
We have other people in front of us, so we have SDRs that are kind of like cold callers.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll vet the leads. It hits a rating system.
No
then it gets to
way.
us.
I like
They
that.
have ISAs, like an appointment setter.
Yeah.
They vet the person.
Lovely.
And then
So I have an open calendar that
So PadSplit has like some kind of marketing process that funnels the people to you guys like that. Okay. For some reason, I thought a lot of it was organically from you guys, like doing your meetups and meeting people and word of mouth.
It could, but that's a lot less.
Social media.
That's how I met Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was the only person. So now at this point, we're only as good as the people that we're going out to meet ultimately, like in market. But no, nationally, PadSplit goes to larger conferences. PadSplit partners with influencers. PadSplit spends money on marketing.
Yep.
They all go through a funnel of some sort, and then they get passed on to account executives. But if you sign up on the website, you could technically at this point sign up with 3 emails and get 3 different people, even though we have an account together.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just routes it whichever way, and then it could end up with someone in Texas.
Right. I gotcha. So I'm sure not all salespeople are as great as you are, and not all make it, and they might feel like the leads suck. Why would they feel that way? Can you see things from their point of view, and you know what you do different to really put your all in and be successful on your platform?
Because I mean, with leads sucking, it's not known who your audience is, who your avatar is ultimately, and some people really, truly, at least in the real estate world, just try to get. As someone locally told me, valuetainment or edutainment. They just want to educate themselves.
Yeah.
It's the same people you see at all these meetings. That it's the same person that shows up to everything but does not convert or buy.
Doesn't take action.
Not at all.
They're just there to suck up knowledge and waste your time.
That is edutainment.
Yeah.
And so there's those tire kickers, but then there's also people who just can't move but don't know what options they have. And then you're stuck talking to them and you don't know like which way it's going to go. And oh, well, crap, 30 minutes later it went to nothing.
That's probably the toughest part. Like when somebody's genuinely asking a lot of questions and you're educating them, and then they're just there to just take the knowledge and then not do anything with it.
Yep, I can see that for sure.
So it's super important to get the right people in front of you, advertise to the right people in front of you, and then put the right people in front to be able to take the action on that opportunity. And
so they can't. So those people that think all the leads suck, that are not becoming as great as you are, they just can't figure that part out.
Correct.
Okay.
You still have to, at the end of the day, as a broker once told me, if someone called you with $1 million, what are you going to tell them and what are you going to pitch them? What is your thing that you're going to speak to get this person to invest in your deals or in you? And if you're not ready for that opportunity, or you don't know what to say, whether it's an elevator pitch or not, then even if it is a good lead, you have to be able to convert on that.
Right. And that's probably the most important ones, or the easy ones.
Of course.
Yeah, because you'll be just losing easy deals, easy money, and then you're not helping them because they're not converting themselves onto the platform, which is ultimately going to help them out the most.
100%.
Yeah, totally get that. Oh man. So when's your guys' next showing for your beast?
Probably about
Well, we have
a
another one.
month or a
Yeah.
little less than that. We're finishing the refi. Hopefully, we get the refi finalized next week, and then we still have to put up another wall after the refi finishes.
You guys did good according to some of the photos that I've seen that were out there. You guys had a whole board with
Oh, the
Board.
big one? Yeah, it was a lot of people that showed up. Um, the board, yeah, we just broke down the numbers, and then we just showed everybody the tour, and then Lewis was talking to a lot of people who were doing the, what is it called? Edutainment?
yeah, yeah.
He was edutaining people.
I
Yeah.
noticed some of those. Like some are
Yeah.
very familiar. I'm like, oh, I've seen you a lot.
Well, one of the ladies had a 3-1 and she was trying to figure out what she could do, and the other one actually had a listing from somebody in California, and she said it was so beat up and the lady owed so much money on it. She's like, the only thing I could think of was that she's gonna probably have to PadSplit it, but I don't know anything about PadSplit. And I was like, well, I can have that conversation for you for a fee.
Yeah. On that note, a good question for you right now, Ray, is because we're still kind of in the middle of a market cycle, right? Of a market shift. And I know a lot of people got stuck with properties that they intended to flip, remodel, and they had to do things like keep the properties, turn them into Airbnbs, and sometimes pad splits. Did you see a lot of that
A
also?
lot.
Really?
A lot of
Okay.
Airbnb conversions, a lot of fix and flip conversions, a lot of properties still in the market. Not as much now. The long-term buy and hold investors that are looking to convert, that does happen, but I'm seeing a lot more of the Airbnb and fix and flip people.
Right. So the tough part, I think, of those pivots and conversions were successfully refinancing out.
I feel bad for the people who put a lot of money into the fix and flip, and they're like, "Yeah, there's the finish line." And 3 months later, they're sold and get ripped out, and they're like, they talk to a rep and they say, "Hey, teach me something," and you go, "You're gonna have to add 2 more rooms to make sense and buy furniture."
And then it's so painful because you already have flooring up.
Yeah,
You got to put it on top of the flooring and
Mm-hmm.
probably move a couple of
it's
lights.
a hard pivot. Usually at that point, it's a smart pivot. Don't get me wrong, because you could take the walls down, you can make some modifications. It doesn't change what your house is ultimately, but it's one that you didn't anticipate financially, and
Yeah.
you feel like your profits are going to crap. But
What we do is when we put up the walls, we don't screw them into the floor. We screw them into the adjacent walls and the ceiling. And that way the floor doesn't get messed up.
yeah,
And we just put it right on top of the floor.
Did you notice that the walls in that case are still firm and sturdy?
Oh, of course.
Because I would imagine there'd be a little bottom wiggle if you kick it or something like that. You know what I mean?
Not if you're screwing it in. I
Right.
mean, maybe at one of your houses, that would be the case.
Maybe I didn't screw it in correctly. I didn't know you can put a wall up without screwing it in.
Yeah, you just don't screw it into the floor. You screw it
Just
into
don't
the
put the plate in.
trusses and the walls,
Yeah.
like the left and
He's
the
not putting the bottom plate.
right.
That's so unusual. Just
Yeah. We
boggling
could
my
just
mind.
do the Jeff Weller method and pay an extra 0.5% in interest and just do it the other way. But, this way we don't have to mess up the floors and we save 0.5% in
I love
interest.
it.
So,
I love it. Love it. Cool, man. So how does the rest of the year look like for Ray and Ariana?
more podcasts. We're really figuring this out. We're trying to figure out seasons and formats and how to
Yeah.
keep it going and adding value. We're gonna add more properties. We're pulling money out of our primary house. Um, we're raising money, so we'll definitely add more houses. Um, I think more local events locally. I think for Jacksonville specifically, I'll probably do like privatized masterminding with investors to educate them and kind of create a little small community. Tampa, you'll see us a heck of a lot more. We'll be at events out there, but still expansion, helping investors, growing out social awareness, and making more money.
That's amazing. I love it. So when you guys are doing your podcast, do you ever run into like scheduling conflicts where Ariana can't be there, so you just have to host, or vice versa?
We
Or do you
block
guys
schedule.
make it a purpose to?
Dedicated day to record.
Okay.
The only thing that kind of throws a monkey wrench is if a person that's coming from out of town has to come in. They're like, it's on this day, Tuesday. Oh, well, crap, we work. Well, Tuesday after hours or weekend. So then we're working Monday to Friday and then into the weekends. So We overwork.
You don't work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day?
I do work 7 days. This shit
Yeah.
does not end.
No, it does.
I'm a realtor, but I don't really represent people. I could, but I don't.
Do you have your
Um,
license?
Yeah, I've been licensed.
Oh,
I used to
well,
wholesale up the MLS. You had to be licensed.
yeah.
There's 4
Well,
realtors
you
in
don't
this
have
room
to be
right now.
licensed because we wholesale off the MLS all the time.
I mean, you can have somebody, but I won't get into that. So
Baycomb, baby.
yeah, so nine years ago, I had to get licensed to be able to work
I
at a
know.
brokerage. But so we're realtors. We wholesale. I haven't wholesaled in a while. I might create a buyer's list in a community, so an inflow of
I think that's
off-market
a
leads.
very underutilized strategy for you. I think the people that are trying to buy pad splits, you should try to not just
Dude.
It's
link them,
coming.
but get them
Dude.
properties.
It's coming.
Yeah. Throw a referral fee on there, baby.
The website, again with branding ourselves, how do you get to us? How do you know what we do? You'll see us at more events. We're educating more people on that, and we'll hopefully we have an intake form on the website, so you know you're working with the co-living couple, and we are partnering with wholesale people to be able to provide deals and create kind of a privatized buyers list.
Nice.
That's great.
So we do want to keep a tight knit community with
Yeah.
everyone that we work with, so we can keep them within a funnel of sorts.
Sweet, man. It's amazing, dude. Hey,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, because we're at the tail end right now, can you tell the people watching or viewers how they can contact you?
Yeah, definitely. So you can reach me at Ray. So you can reach me at ray@padsplit.com. You can reach me at ray@padsplit.com. I will not put my phone number, even though that's public.
Drop that cell number.
Nah, bro.
Hit that
Although
Google
if you really
voice.
do look up Ray Nunez, it does pop up
Just
anyway.
give us a call and we'll give you the phone number.
On all social media, it's Ray and Oriana. So that's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you want to schedule an appointment, DM us. And if you need any guidance in real estate, we have the experience to educate you through the process. And if you have a PadSplit, by the way, and you want to be on the podcast, hit us up, by the way.
Hey.
And you get one walkthrough.
And then how do
Person
they,
share.
if they want to start watching the podcast, where do they go on YouTube?
Ray and Oriana, or
There too.
or it's the Co-Living with PadSplit podcast. It's every Tuesday at 8:00. We're posting it on the Facebook group. So
Nice. I love it.
appreciate it.
Sweet.
Well, guys, thank you guys so much for joining. We appreciate you guys. It's every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, live. The PadSplit People podcast. I mean, the All Leads Suck podcast. He asked me for the sign. He asked me for the sign today, so he's got it in my bag.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
That's too.
So the All Leads Suck podcast, guys. We appreciate you. Once again, I'm Dominic,
This is Sam.
Lewis.
and we'll see you guys next week. And we're gonna change